I'm 46 years old and I've stayed lean for 28 straight years through university, through getting married, through having 3 kids, even whilst I was working a full-time career, building a global coaching business and serving in my church all at the same time. I get the same 24 hours in a day that you do. So it's not about time and it's never been about luck. It just comes down to 7 habits that I've kept since I was 18, and I want to show you all 7 right now. These are the same habits I've now used to help over 550 busy professional dads lose their gut, get on top of their energy, and reclaim their health. So it's not something that works just for me. It's a system that has worked for hundreds of dads worldwide. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through all 7 of those habits. You'll probably be surprised with how simple they actually are. And one of them actually involves some whiskey and some smoked barbecue. So stay tuned for that one. But the 7th habit is the most important one on that list. It's the one that holds all the others up, and it's the one that almost every man skips, and the reason why they keep failing. The first habit is the one that I'd give you above almost all the others. It's that I eat only when I'm truly stomach hungry, and then I stop just before I start to feel full. Think about how most men eat. You most likely eat at certain times of the day, such as midday, because it's your lunch break, or it's lunchtime. It's 12 o'clock, okay, let's eat lunch. Or it's dinner time, it's 6 o'clock, so you just eat because of that. It doesn't mean that your body needs the food, right? So because of that, you end up finishing everything on your plate because it's there in front of you, and you push on past your fullness levels without even noticing. None of that is hunger. It's more of a routine, and then it starts to load you up with food that your body never asked for, day after day, year after year. So here's how I run it instead, because that way will cause you to gain weight. I wait for real hunger before I eat, then I eat up until just before I'm full, and then I stop. Not when I'm stuffed, just enough to be satisfied and I don't feel deprived at all. Then I wait for the next hunger cue, and if it shows up close to my next meal, I'll just have that meal a little bit earlier. If it's too far away, what I'll do is I'll have a healthy snack instead to get me by through to the next meal, but never enough that it ruins my appetite for that meal that's coming. I never ignore my hunger cues, and I don't let it prolong enough so that way it disappears, because when you do that, it can lower your metabolism. And for most men that are aging, your metabolism can drop, and you want to fight that. So by having those meals regularly, listening to your hunger cues, that's going to keep it elevated throughout the day. You need to listen to your body and respond to when it actually tells you it needs food. But you need to make sure you identify the difference between genuine stomach hunger and hunger that might come out of boredom, stress, or emotion. The second habit is that I don't skip meals, especially breakfast, which most men do. I know it sounds backward to some of you because you think that skipping meals means lower calories throughout the whole day and it should help you lose weight. But how's that going for you so far? So here's what actually happens when you skip breakfast. You probably end up pushing through the morning and just have coffee, and then by the afternoon your body's running on empty and you become ravenous. Sometimes it might be whilst you're still at work. Sometimes it's when you arrive at home, things have settled and you start reaching for snacks before dinner. So you end up overeating later in the day, and you reach for the quick stuff, the rich calorie-dense snacks that have plenty of calories and almost no nutrition. And that's how you can easily put on weight. So I eat all my meals every single day. Regular fuel throughout the day keeps my metabolism high. It keeps my energy steady, and it keeps me from ever getting to that ravenous place where those poor choices can happen, as well as the overeating. By the way, if you want the full system that these habits come from, which is my habit sustainability formula, it's all in my free Ditch the Dad Fat book that you can get access to. Link is in the description for you. Now for habit 3. Habit 3 is about what's actually on the plate itself. So your food choices. And for my food choices, they're always lean, and they're low in fat, and they're low to moderate in calories. Okay. I've cut out the high fat, calorie dense foods for most of the time, because fat carries more than double the calories of protein or carbs, gram for gram. So the high fat foods, the fried stuff, the fatty cuts of meat, the heavy creamy meals, that can load you up with calories fast and even leave you hungry again sooner. When I keep my choices lean, I get to eat more food, feel fuller and more satisfied, all for less calories. So I'm not eating less, I'm actually eating more volume, but choosing better. Now you'll notice I mentioned most of the time. So hold that thought because habit 6 is going to explain exactly what I meant by it, and it involves whiskey. Habit 4 is simple, and all it is that I drink plenty of pure water, plain water, and I've forgone the soft drinks and the sugary drinks completely. I don't need them. I've never had an inkling for them. Maybe I did when I was a teenager, but I got rid of it straight away. Because liquid calories are the sneakiest ones. They don't fill you up. They don't do anything for you in terms of nutrition. They don't register as food, and they add up faster than almost anything that you eat in terms of calories. And here's the part that you may not realize. Once you decide to cut those sugary drinks and you push through that first couple of weeks, it might be tough, but you end up realizing that you actually never needed them and you'll feel better for it. My clients, for example, when I tell them to cut it out or at least reduce it, they say that the same thing, that they're fine without it and they're better off without it and they wish they had done it sooner. Habit 5 is that I plan my food ahead, whether it be on a daily basis, whether it be across the whole week. I was recently on holidays, so I just mapped out what I was planning to eat in advance, and it doesn't have to be to a T. It can just be a rough guide as to what I would do at the airport, what I would do on the plane, and what I would do at the resorts, okay? I know what I'm eating and where it's coming from before the day starts. Here's why this matters so much for a busy man. When you have no plan, you don't actually choose your food. Your circumstances choose it for you, especially when you're short on time and you're busy. Whatever's available, whatever's quick, whatever's nearby. It's all about convenience. And that's how a long day at work turns into takeout options on the way home because nothing else was ready. Structure is what removes those moments. And when the food is planned and prepared, the right choices is also the easy choice. And your body gets that nutrition that it needs instead of whatever was convenient. It doesn't have to be a formal written out plan though, okay? It can just be something that you've mapped out in your mind, whether it be the night before or the morning of, what have I got on today? Where am I gonna get my food from? What's it gonna be? Simple as that. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to make sure you have something in place, which is exactly the point of the next habit. And that is habit number 6, which is probably my favorite. And it's the reason the first 5 have lasted me 28 years instead of 28 days. I don't aim for perfection. I aim to have a decent, good average over time. So here's what that looks like in my real life. On the weekends, I can loosen up a bit. I can enjoy myself a bit more. Some whiskey, some smoked meat, some burgers with the family. I enjoy every bit of it guilt-free. Then during the week, I'm more disciplined and the week balances the weekend out. So my habits average out well and the results, they take care of themselves. Because perfection is a diet and diets, as you would know, they don't last very long. So let me tell you about a client who proves this. His name's David. He's a 56-year-old managing director with 2 kids. And when he came to me, one of the habits that was holding him back was he was a regular whiskey drinker. I'm talking like daily. So he'd get home from work, he'd pour a drink or 3 most nights, and the social drinks that he would have on top of that on the weekends, meaning Friday through to Sunday. And it was just something that he'd slid into, some type of routine. And he told me that it was a bad habit that he'd never gotten around to getting on top of. He had no intention about it. No one had told him about it until someone came in, i.e. us, and we helped him actually change that. He didn't quit drinking. He still enjoyed his whiskey, but he just cut out that after work whiskey during the week and he kept a few for the weekend. So that's one shift, along with fixing a few other bad habits that allowed him to eventually lose 10 kilos, so about 22 pounds. Now he sleeps better. He's got real energy in the mornings again. He still enjoys his whiskey. He just averages it out now. And that's the difference between this and every diet that you've tried. You don't have to cut out everything you enjoy. I want you to still enjoy those things just like I do. Now, before I give you the 7th habit, I need to clear something up because some of you are wondering when is he going to talk about exercise, right? And it's not on the list because that's deliberately done because I do train. I have for decades, but I train to build shape and to maintain my 6-pack, not to lose weight and not to keep that weight off. Because if I stopped exercise, all these habits would allow me to keep lean all my life. Okay. And that's what I teach all the dads that I help. So every dad I've coached has lost the weight through my habit sustainability formula without needing the gym. So if you're carrying extra weight right now, exercise is not the primary place to start. It's probably the hardest thing to do. The daily habits are simpler to do because you're already doing them, and that should be your foundation that you start with. If you can exercise on top of that, it's a bonus. So with that said, here's the habit that holds all of this together. Are you ready for it? The 7th habit is the one that if you skip, the other 6 will not survive. You have to know your why. Every habit that I've shared today, it takes some effort, not much, but some. And there will be days when you're tired, when work is chaotic, when the easy choice is sitting right there. On those days, the only thing that holds is the reason why you initially set out to do it, why you're wanting to lose weight. For me, I look after my health and do all these habits so I can operate at full capacity because there are people counting on me. I want the energy to meet everything that's demanded of me throughout the day. I want to be a proper example for my kids so they grow up watching what looking after yourself actually looks like, and I can pass on the good habits to them. I want to be around longer for them, not just now, but for decades. And as a Christian, I believe that my body is a vessel that God has given me. It's a gift, and I need to steward that well. And I need to hold myself accountable to Him of how I look after it. Okay, and that's part of my why, which I believe is very powerful. And that's what's helped me push through all these decades, even faced with various challenges. So here's what happens when your why is that clear. The habits stop being rules you follow, and they start being part of who you are, part of your identity. And that shift from behavior to identity is why I've never needed to find motivation in 28 years. My why just supplies it. So do this today. I want you to sit down and write out why your health actually matters to you. Why are you wanting and willing to put the effort in to get down to your healthy weight? Write them out and then ask yourself, why is that important to you? And then ask yourself again, why is that important to you? And keep getting deeper. You need to get at least 3 layers deep for it to really stick and be very important and powerful to you. And then you need to put it somewhere where you can see it visibly and keep referring back to it. So that way, when you feel like giving up, that's there at the forefront of your mind and you won't give up. Because a strong why, it makes the other 6 habits almost automatic. Now, some of you are watching this and thinking, I know all this, but like David with his whiskey, there's a habit or two that you've never gotten on top of. And you may not know what they are. You may need someone to have a look at it. And you may have been trying to fix it for years, but you've never had any luck or any success. So that's the exact work that I do with the dads that I coach. We do it on a breakthrough call where I personally help those people find the specific habits that are keeping the weight on them and then map out a clear plan to change them for good. So if you're interested in that and you're serious about losing over 10 kilos or 20 pounds and you're done trying to sort it alone, you want a mentor, you want a coach to help you out, if that is you, you can access my calendar via the page link in the description below. It should be that second link there. But before I let you go, there is one more thing I do that ties all the 7 habits together. And that is I keep an eye on my progress. I check the scales, I look in the mirror, and if I ever see the weight starting to creep up, I act on it straight away because small corrections early are a lot easier to fix than big corrections later on. It becomes a lot harder. And most men wait until the damage is done. Don't be most men. So there they are. Eat when you're truly hungry. Stop before you're full. Never skip your meals. Keep your choices lean. Drink plain water. Plan your food ahead of time. Aim for a good average, not perfection. Know your why and write it down. 7 habits, 28 years, and every one of them fits inside a busy life with kids, with work, and everything else that you're carrying. If you want to see how busy dads are using these exact habits to lose 10 to 35 pounds in 6 weeks, go and watch the video right here. It's the best next step. And remember, look after yourself so you can look after your family.